Lab Coat Agents? It's Tristan and Nick today, and we've got an amazingly special guest today. But I'm going to let Nick introduce her. Nick, go ahead.
Hey, Tristan. Thanks, Lab Coats. Listen, today we're talking to somebody outside of our industry. However, we can really relate to this industry as well. We're going to talk to Jennifer Donchez, and I know Jennifer because she actually booked my honeymoon to my lovely wife, Ann, who's sitting over here that doesn't want to be on screen. But Jennifer has been an authority on a variety of travel issues. She has a #1 travel company called VIP Vacations. She appears as an expert on CNN Headline News and Fox Philadelphia's 10 o'clock news. And VIP Vacations is a travel agency with only 10 people, but they're #1 for vacations to St. Lucia. They're #1 for vacations to Sandals and beaches. And they're top 10 for vacations to Thailand. And #1 for vacations to Northeast Disney Cruise Line. So you know where I'm going after this. I mean, there's so many things I could say about Jennifer, but let's give her a nice warm Lab Coats welcome. Jennifer is a travel agent, and I feel like we can totally relate in terms of the type of industries we are both in. So say hello, Jen.
Hi, how are you?
All right.
It's so nice to be here today.
It's awesome to have you here.
Jennifer, you've got your little dog with you too, right? Sophie?
Where's your dog? Where's the dog? Sophie? Let's introduce Sophie if she's around.
I do.
Now, before we get
Sophie!
oh, there she is. Before we get started, let's just kind of, talk about how you got started in the business over 20 years ago, and tell us a little bit about your business as it is right now, VIP Vacations.
Okay. So I got started years ago when you would see a travel agency on every corner practically, and I worked in corporate travel, and it was a regular, job, 9 to 5 kind of a thing. And things have slowly changed, with all new technology, the industry changes, and my job was drastically changed after 9/11 when a lot of businesses stopped their corporate contracts. But what was funny about it was the honeymooners that I had as clients, they were, my corporate travelers who would come to me and say, I'm getting married, can you do my honeymoon? They continued to travel. So it was like this light bulb moment that said, you know what? I'm going to try to shift the way that I do business and focus more on the honeymoon market. And that's how it kind of started. I didn't know, or didn't have a crystal ball then to know that honeymoons and destination weddings were recession resistant, and that this would really grow because, especially for a destination wedding, it's very hard to book yourself. When this switch kind of happened, the internet was picking up steam too for people to book direct. But there was something so precious about a honeymoon, you know yourself, Nick, that people wanted expert advice. So we really tried to focus on different areas of the world and become experts on that, primarily geared towards honeymoons and destination weddings.
I think you made a really good point there about, post 9/11 and, and then before that, when, the market crashed in 2007, people stopped spending money on, they stopped spending extra money, expendable money on vacations and especially buying homes. So, I think we can totally relate to that. What, when did you first see, because in real estate, we talk a lot about Zillow, right? Like Zillow's out to take our jobs, right? So a lot of people want us to ask this question. When did you start to see Travelocity and Expedia start to affect your business? And how are you talking to your clients about why they still need you to plan their vacations?
Well, I think that big, push for the Travelocities, the Expedias, the Orbits, the Trivagos, that's been around since I would say 2007, 2008. It really made a spike in like 2011 to where, you could kind of figure it out on your own. And a lot of times consumers just think that it's less expensive. So I noticed it in 2011, 2012, and kind of changed the message that our agency was going to, address to consumers overall, customers wherever, especially millennials, and say, do you know it doesn't cost anything to use a travel agent? And when you go onto those online sites, you're actually using a travel agency, but you're doing our work, our job, and you don't do it every single day, 15, 20 times a day. So why don't you ask us our opinion and we'll help you with our expertise. Like I said, it's not going to cost you any more. So if we continue to say that message, I think that there's something fun about planning a trip. People like to just look and do the research on it. But then there's that tangible, like what happens if, and we provide the customer service to actually give you that little lifeline that, you're going to be safe and secure, and we're going to take care of you, and we're going to answer all your questions. And I think that's the added value that you get when you use a travel agent. So like in terms of real estate, I'm sure people want to know what's out there and they want to look, but what is the added value that you're providing to your customers? Because the internet's going to be around for a long time, whether it's going to be an app on your phone or something you can just download and look at. What we have to do as this service, because that's what we are, we're in the service business, is provide a service, right? And that's where we've tried to focus on. And we have people that want us to do a run-of-the-mill little airline ticket to Detroit, and people who want to do a $50,000 trip to Europe, because the service should stay the same. So that's basically how we kind of compete with those online sites.
Well, question.
Oh, go ahead, Tristan.
Well, here's a question, because you said you decided to go with a niche when you first started, right? You saw that there was a downturn. How did you decide what niche you wanted to go to? Because in real estate, we have the opportunity as real estate agents also to do niches. Some agents can say, I'm going to focus on luxury. I'm going to focus on just agricultural or townhomes and condos, first-time home buyers, only listings. It's wide open. So how did you choose a niche?
So for me, I wish I could say that I did all of this elaborate research and this is the way I was going to go. But that's not exactly how it worked. I was looking at one of the highest years in sales ever in 2001. It started off January, February, March. It was booming. I signed a $3 million contract with a corporate company. I was, I don't want to go there with my age, but I was barely, in my 30s. And I thought to myself, I wasn't even 30. And I thought, wow, this is such a great business. Look at this coming. And the thing is that everything changed with 9/11. All of those contracts, they didn't have these little loopholes. They just said, hey, we're not traveling, cut it off. Hey, I can't send my employees someplace. They're all worried. Their friends and family are worried. They can't do that. And I looked at what was left to travel for the year, and I started calling people and saying, I just need to know, are you still planning on travel? And I got this resounding, hell yeah, we're not going to let any, terrorists do this to us. And it was all the honeymooners. So it became this, I'm going to focus on that because I need to make money. I need to keep my business alive. And we just started to really focus on that. So we were determined. We started to do bridal shows, and a lot of them. We do about 30 of them a year. So it wasn't like we're just going to do a little bit. We got in and kind of blasted that to see. And then we actually tracked the ROI, and we started to focus on investing in, some advertising that would be effective in our area. And we really partnered with certain resort brands that valued using a travel agent. And so for one of them, for example, Sandals and Beaches, they have awards. And it's really nice when you hit a certain level that you win these awards. And then we've used that to market even more. So, and they treat our clients wonderfully as well. So we not only focused on a niche, but we focused on certain resorts within that niche. We kind of we dug it down.
A niche in a niche. I love that.
Yeah. And we became well known for that, not just in our area, but our footprint has gone all over. Nick, you and I never met each other. Nick is in New Jersey. He never came to my office. I don't even remember how we came to know each other, but it can spread. And there's niches that we now have that I never thought we were going to focus on, but the market dictated that. So when millennials are saying, I don't want to just go to the Caribbean, I went to the Caribbean on, spring break or with a family vacation. We want something unique. We want to go to Thailand or Hawaii or Tahiti. We dove into that because that's what our clients really wanted. And we did the research, and those are, again, destinations that it's a little bit harder to get to if you're going to go to Expedia and look at. So some of the things that we've won the awards for destination weddings, for Thailand, for Hawaii, it's harder to get to. It's harder to plan, so they need to use us. So where there's a need and you provide a service, then the Disney flows afterwards, because that's just the evolution of a traveler. If they do a honeymoon, they're going to have a kid. Probably they're going to go to Disney. So we started to have that so we could still keep those clients and keep them happy, because they'll come to us and say, I know you do honeymoons. I'm looking for a Disney agent. Can you recommend somebody? So we have a few agents here that just their life is to do Disney, and they do it very well. So that's how our office kind of mushroomed into this, agency now that focuses on all over the world, but with different experts doing different components of that.
You know what? I learned a lot just from that statement. Well, first thing I want to say that with the niche, and my wife found you on the not.com in a message board. So it wasn't even like an advertisement or anything. It was in a message board on the not.com, right? So you had made your way into that so much so that people were talking about you. And so it's interesting, you started out with weddings, right? And then honeymoons. And then you grow with your clients, and they gradually ask you for family vacations. And then, over the course of time, you made your way into, a broader market. And so I think a lot of agents, real estate agents, they jump in, they're like, I just want to jump right in to sell $10 million homes. But you don't think about the gradual nature. Okay, I sold this one bedroom condo to a single guy or girl. Oh, they met someone. Now they're engaged. Now they're buying a 2-bedroom condo or a townhouse. Oh, they had a baby. Now they're buying a 4-bedroom home. So in a sense, it's the same process, of growth. So I think that's a really incredible.
Well, I love what you were saying, Jennifer. What you said, and that what could apply to any business really, is that you decided to do one thing and say, hey, look, I'm going to do this niche. Then, for instance, for us, it would be like, hey, I'm going to focus in this area in Malibu. I live in Malibu. So this area in Malibu, California. And then, you know what? Let's go to this specific beach and maybe this one over here. And then, maybe homes that are designed this way. So you're like a niche within a niche. And I think agents, any sales people really need to learn that the better you become at one thing, the more successful you'll be. And I think you're a very great example of this.
Thank you. I think the other piece to this is that when you do something regularly, whether it's Hawaii or sandals, or let's say Italy, you become so fluid in talking about it, and it kind of can ooze out of you. There's no more questions. There's this sense of security and confidence that people have. And I think that that's another, thing that we can share in common. You really have to know more than your customer. And I have had to work twice as hard sometimes to pull back a destination wedding couple because they went down the street to a different agency where they said, oh, we know more than this, agent about a destination wedding. Why should I use you? So we try to promote the fact that we have this expertise and really know it inside and out, because I think it's Malcolm Gladwell that said you need 10,000 hours on a focused craft to truly be an expert. So if you think about I'm a travel agent, but I do a lot of different things. If you think, I've been in this business 20 years, when did I really start working on it? Maybe 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week on just destination weddings. That takes a real long time to accumulate 10,000 hours. So I don't think it's wrong to say, I don't know. But I think if you're going to sell a very high-end product, a huge beach house in Malibu to high-end clients, you better know everything there is to know about that area, more than they could. And they're going to throw out, well, I heard. Have those statistics, have what you've experienced, because then there's that trust. When you get that trust, they're yours. for a long time. And then they refer people, because that's what people want right now, is to know, hey, who do you know that we can call? Or, hey, you had a great experience going to this destination, or your realtor was awesome and they found you this amazing find. So being appreciative of your clients and being the authority and being the expert, those are all components that we can share in our industry.
Two things that you said that really stood out for me. Last week, we were interviewing a coach. His name is Joe Stump. And he said that people love to refer to other people, their sources, as long as they're good. You said you really have to know more than your client, right? And if you do that, they get a sense of, wow, I trust this person, I'm being taken care of them. And now they can go ahead and refer you to someone else, because as soon as they do, they're going to say, Tristan, thank you so much for referring me that Jennifer, she was so good. And that's the key. People want to feel like, wow, you know what? I referred somebody and I did a good job. I never saw it like that until last week. People refer people because it makes them feel good if they did a good job. They want to be the go-to person. How many people do you see refer you in the same way? Just say, hey, Jennifer is awesome.
I think the numbers are overwhelming. We look at all different, benchmarks, and we try to get the data of what campaigns we've done. And what we always have to go back to is our repeat and our referrals. I know for real estate, not everybody's going to buy a house every year. The same person's not going to do that. But travel, right now, people are traveling every year, sometimes twice a year. So when they post their pictures on Facebook and somebody says, where are you? You've done a really good job. They say, we're at Sandals in Exuma and my agent rocks, and tag you in it. And that happens all the time. So that's even more beneficial to us than any kind of major ad campaign, or even still doing all of those bridal shows. It's making it right with our customers and thanking them, and then always saying to them when they refer another person, we actually take the time to actually thank them again, that we know that they did that.
Nick, you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, that's very similar to, hey, someone posts a picture on Facebook, we just bought a new house. Oh, that's awesome. Where is it? It's in, Malibu, and my awesome agent Tristan sold it to me. I mean, it's very, very similar. But I love that, I see you on Facebook traveling all over the world, and, that's your job, and that's fantastic. And so when I see that, I'm like, oh, she's back over here again. She's back over here again. And I think that, you're an expert in the areas that you're traveling to. So instantly, if I'm going to plan a vacation that's $10,000 or whatever, in 2 years, we're going to take our 10-year wedding anniversary trip. I know I'm going to call Jennifer because she travels the world and that's her job, and she knows how to guide me in the right direction. So as realtors, Tristan does this a lot, and I do it too. We're out showing homes. We're taking pictures of the homes that we're showing, and we're posting it on Facebook because we're letting our followers know that we're out there seeing hundreds of homes a month, a year. We know what people are looking for and what to look for during a home inspection, and how to negotiate the best deal, and yada, yada, yada. And so I think it's, we can all relate to that. I want to go back a little bit, because you said something, you gave me an example about, when you first started to now, a lot of people think that it was an overnight success, and a lot of agents are really like, oh, I want to be so successful my first year out of the gate. I want to sell 1 million homes. You brought up something called Tristan, you're going to love this, the Japanese bamboo tree. Check this out. Yeah. You plant the seed, unless you want to tell it, Jennifer, you tell it.
Well, it's my husband works for a Japanese company, so I hear a lot of their folklore and their stories, but this is actually very true. There's the Japanese bamboo tree, and this tree is just immense when you see it, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, look at this beautiful tree. But you can plant that seed, and it will take 5 years for that seed to pop through the surface. And you have to water it, and you have to make sure it gets sun, and you have to fertilize it. But right after that 5th year, when it pops out, it grows 9 feet in 90 days. 9 feet in 90 days.
9 feet in 90 days?
9 feet in 90 days.
So after how many years?
5 years.
That's insane.
It doesn't even break through the surface for 5 years.
So I like to say, like, so you're standing out there watering the plant and your neighbors are looking at you and they're thinking you are crazy because for months you've been out there planting and watering, making sure the sun was there and doing all this. And I'm sure they're talking to the other neighbors and they're saying like, oh, that crazy lady, she's out there, nothing's growing. Or they even walk up to you and say, huh, we're at it again, right? But what always happens is within those 90 days when it breaks the surface, everybody wants to come over and congratulate you and say, how did you do it? And what did you do? Because all they really see is the after. They don't see the work that went into it. And if you miss a couple of days of watering or taking care of it or whatever, all of your work for years and years and years can be worthless. So for us, there is a foot on the gas and a foot on the brake. There is no coasting. We have to continually try to plant those seeds. They might not happen tomorrow, might not happen next year. But eventually they will happen. You just have to be patient. And your friends and family might say, oh, you're going to another bridal show? You did 30 of them already. Come on, what's going on? A couple of years from now, when you're standing on a stage and you're winning these awards, like #1 in the world for beaches resorts. That's a huge brand. #1 in the world. They say, wow, she just, you know, she's very lucky. She found the right market. They don't understand that we've been doing this since 2002 of just focusing on those destinations. So I just say keep with it and do the right things. Do the right things along the way because it will come back. And then everybody's going to be so excited for you because they'll see that success. That's what they see. And then they want to know how. But a lot of times they don't want to do the work that it takes to get to that point.
Wow. I love that. That's a good story.
Isn't that the best, man? Like, it's all about consistency. Just don't stop. Keep doing it. It's not going to pay off immediately. And for us, you know, it's every day we're in the office, you know, make your follow-up calls, do your marketing, go knock on doors, go send out your mailers, go do your open houses. I mean, over the course of time, you're just going to be that #1 agent in your market. I mean, Tristan, when, you know, you decided to break into a higher price market in Malibu, you know, and it hasn't been the easiest thing in the world, right? So
it's really tough.
It's just a matter of just continuously doing it over and over and over again. I think that's a great analogy.
Jennifer, that story really reminds me of, that fact actually reminds me of John Wooden, the UCLA head coach, where for years he didn't win a championship. And then 10 out of 13 years or 10 out of 12, he won 10 championships. And it was like all of a sudden, but it was all that hard work that helped him get there. So I'm going to use your story. That's a really good one.
Tristan's going to call his team and use the story. 100%. Hey, Jennifer, so, in the beginning, we talked about, you have a very successful agency and it's only 10 people, right? The success that Jennifer's having, you'd think she'd have like hundreds of people working for her, right? So tell us a little bit about, what those 10 people do on a regular basis. What's the structure of your office? Are they all travel agents? Is one person in charge of marketing? Is another person in charge of, getting new leads? What's the structure you have?
Well, we definitely are a team. So we do have a group manager and we have an operations manager, but everybody can jump in and do what needs to be done. And I think that that's part of that team mentality. We also have a front office, and the front office is for walk-ins. And then we have people that specialize in different niches. And we really do focus on destination weddings. So we have a few destination wedding agents. And then we have people that take the calls for guests who want to book into their wedding. So, but you could be speaking to, I'll give you an example. You could be speaking to Allison about booking into a friend's wedding. And Allison's specialty happens to be Hawaii. So though she's booking you into a wedding and that's like answering the phones, she's also, sending quotes off to Hawaii for other clients. So we are very efficient and proficient. And I think that that's a key too. Years ago, I think we may have needed about 12 to 14 people to do the load that we have now. But because we have these processes in place and there's some efficiency, and again, the more you do something, the better you get at it. So, and it becomes faster. We're there to help each other along the way too. We do have somebody who does graphics, and that's probably the one that knows selling strictly up graphics. As Nick has said, our brand is, this pink romantic thing. I work in a pink house. We drive pink cars. So we have this big pink thing, and we do advertisements and videos and there's social media. So we do have somebody that knows our message and helps us with the graphics. We also create save the dates for our destination wedding clients and wedding web pages. So that kind of is something that might not be travel related, but we have as an employee.
I love that, because you just said that might not be something that's necessarily travel related, but you're going outside the realm of what the consumer envisions a travel company is supposed to do, right? Like, Tristan, how many times are we doing things for our buyers and sellers that maybe aren't within our job description? You know what I mean?
Oh, man, I remember I had to paint a fence one time for the FHA to approve the sale. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to give a shout out to Sunshine Wilhite in our group, because she sold Ann's parents' house in Clarkston, Michigan, and she had to paint a shed because the house wouldn't appraise otherwise. So I love that. And you said, yeah, there's systems in place, right? So that's another way, to help that, Japanese bamboo tree of your business grow. So I want to ask, because with real estate, our number one job we don't learn this in real estate school, but once you get out, you realize that you don't have any business, right? So we wake up every day and we're unemployed because we're 100% commission based. Our number one job is to lead generate. So, a lot of the same things that you do, sphere of influence, we're calling online internet leads. We're even calling, people who try to sell their house in the past and seeing if they maybe want to sell again. And we have certain scripts in place. But where does most of your business come from? I know a lot of it is sphere of influence, but your online marketing, do you advertise on Facebook? Is it pay-per-click? What type of stuff are you doing to generate online leads?
Well, it's funny. We've tried a bunch of different things. Years ago, Google AdWords were really, key for us. So we would do something like Dreams Resorts Wedding Agents, because we found that brand specifically at the time had a difficult time capturing weddings because they were very difficult to reach the wedding specialist at the resort or the wedding planner. So that worked for us for a while. But I think the big thing is that we've slowly evolved and we see where we need to advertise, and we listen to what the trends are, and not just for travel, but for other industries and where they're, getting their leads from. Because, I can say, okay, we have an ad and we have a listing on the Knot, but you didn't look at the listing, Nick. You looked at a message board when somebody said that. And we also have a billboard in a very prominent area in where we live, on a highway. And I know how much we pay for the billboard. I know how, the billboard statistics will tell you how many people drive by and see it every day. But we have a great website, and we have a Knot listing, and we have, we go to bridal shows and there's repeats. And I track the hits on our website. And when somebody calls, we ask, how did you hear about us? So we can continue tracking that. It's funny, somebody will just say, I Googled you. But did they really? Or was it just that they saw something driving by, or they heard a radio spot, or they saw me on Fox, or I write for USA Today? Did they read something on USA Today and then Google me? So it's kind of like we did a lot. We did a lot in different places. The Knot was very good for us for quite a while. Wedding Wire is very good for us as well. Our Facebook page, we did do the where you get, you pay for, I guess, it to show up a little bit higher so people like it. We paid for likes, we paid things like that. I think fundamentally what worked the best for us was harvesting. Again, we're back to the planting, harvesting our clients that have already traveled. Whether that's saying happy birthday, happy anniversary, keeping them always in our loop. being friends with them on Facebook so that they see it's a real person versus booking, online. Having a connection with a person is so much better than they have a loyalty when they have a connection with a person. Nick, you're my friend. Okay, Facebook did that. You and I never met in person, but we're friends. So we remember those important dates. We send out, hey, I know you and Ann are looking to go someplace in next year or 2 years from now. Does this look good to you? And we constantly follow up with that. It's the feel good things that make our clients feel special. And then that's where it really came from. So if you have no clients, reach out to your circle of friends. Tell them what you're focusing on. And it shouldn't be in a way that is salesy, because people see right through that. Be humble, be gracious, be appreciative. And I think people will be like, hey, I have a friend who just loves what she does. You should reach out to her, because that's the beginning seed that's down there, is that you don't mind how much work you have to do to get that. People love hardworking people. That's my belief.
I completely agree. And I was out in LA the other day visiting Tristan. We were talking about, Tristan, weren't we talking about the victim versus the grateful mentality?
Oh yeah, dude, it's been a big theme lately. It's interesting that Jennifer works the same way that all these other top producers do in sales, in general sales. I mean, not just in your industry, Jennifer, but in most industries that we see. You're saying the same thing they're saying, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, be humble, be grateful, instead of, playing a victim and blaming everybody else for things that aren't working, and just wake up and be glad that, you have all these, you have business that you can go after, and we do it exactly the same way. I'm looking through my notes because I had a question I wanted to ask. Okay. Oh, so a lot of the things that we do when we have leads that are coming in is the pre-qualification is really important for us. We want to know, are they pre-approved for a loan? How long have they been looking? What's their price range? And you guys do the same thing, right? So what are some of the questions that you ask new business or old business when they first come to you and they want to go on vacation? What do those pre-qualifications look like?
So Tristan, you told me before we went on, you wanted to possibly go to Italy.
I
right?
do. Yeah.
Okay, let's role play.
Tristan, are you taking me to Italy?
I'm taking everyone. Free
everyone.
Let's do a group trip to Italy.
Are you gonna role play with Tristan right now?
I'm gonna role play with Tristan right now.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first we're going to ask, I'm gonna start with, hey Tristan, do you know when you might want to travel?
Yeah, I'm thinking probably towards the end of this year, end of November, like Thanksgiving, or early December.
And do you know how long you want to be gone?
I want to be gone for 3 weeks, just so Nick doesn't call me anymore.
I'm coming with you. It's all good.
And you said Italy. Are you trying to spend a lot of time in just one city, or do you want to go kind of see every place that you can throughout Italy?
The idea would be to fly into Spain and then either take a boat to Italy or go through France up down, coming from the top of Italy in to Rome.
And do you mind like packing and unpacking, or is something like a cruise where you sail to different spots and then you finish in one spot? Is that appealing to you?
That's cool too. I don't mind packing and unpacking. We pack light.
Okay. And when you've traveled before, what would you say like the hotel brand of choice has been? What's your style when you go away?
Marriott, and as long as it's not some dingy little place that I have to be careful when I'm walking out,
But you also didn't say the Ritz-Carlton, so that says a lot right there too. So that's awesome. Are you taking somebody with you?
Yeah, it's going to be my wife and my kids, 10 and 6.
And Nick.
And Nick Baldwin and Ann Baldwin and Levi and Gus.
Oh, perfect.
Fabulous. Okay. Do you happen to have a key budget that you want to stick to?
Actually, I don't even know how much it would cost, so I'm open right now.
Oh, see, that's my so this wouldn't happen with you if you were like really in front of me, but that's my favorite question. So we're saying like $50,000.
Maybe 30,000.
Okay, see, so you do have a budget that you're looking for.
There you go.
So I mean, that's the key, is to figure out what it is, because
Nice.
I don't want to spin my wheels and give you something that's going to be way over your budget and turn you off right away. So I really want to fine tune that. And my hope is to actually find you something that's even better than what you said, so you have some spending money to kind of play with when you're there.
Right.
Do you want me to set up some tours for you too? Are you very active, or more into like the historical and the music and the theater?
Theater's okay. We're more into museums and sightseeing, old historical places.
Okay. And are you okay going out on your own, or do you want some guided experiences?
We like to go on our own. I hate guided experiences.
Perfect. So I just qualified you for an amazing trip that I'm going to put together for you. But some of the problems that we encounter, and I don't know if you have this in real estate too, is that somebody says, well, I don't really have a budget. I don't know. I want, a 5-bedroom house with 3 bathrooms and a huge backyard, but I don't really have a budget. When you throw something like, oh, okay, $1 million. No. We can't do more than 400,000. You've already established their budget. So I don't know if there's a spot in the Gen Xers that says, why are you asking me this? Or are you going to try to charge me more? They're questioning why you're asking for a budget. But fundamentally, people know what they want to spend. Now, you could have told me I want to spend $5,000 and I'll laugh and say, I don't think that's going to happen. But we could then say, but you might not want to go to Italy, but how about I send you to Florida for your budget? We can make it work still. I can send you to Epcot and you can go to the Italy Pavilion. And
hey, I've been there.
walk around those countries.
That's the best.
I think we all can learn from just listening, because I listened to what you had to say and then provide the feedback to it, based on your expertise. And you can say, in my experience, or based on my expertise, because as you say that, you're reinforcing to the client that you do this more than they do it.
You're creating trust too, because you're saying, look, I've been through this before. I talked to somebody that's said this or done this. That's, what? The way you qualified me is the exact same way we qualify people. It's hilarious. Nick, that was like, I was listening to us talking to a lead. That was crazy.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And one of the things that, that we sometimes forget to do, and Jennifer, you told me this when we were talking the other day, is the number one thing you need to do is listen. The number one thing, just let the person talk, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I think when we email back and forth with our clients, because email is amazing, because we can send a quote and it can be in writing and it can have all of the components. Like Tristan, I wouldn't begin to talk to you on the phone about where you're going every day today. What I would do is I would send you an itinerary and either say, you can look at this or you can call me and we can talk through. But I have embraced the use of technology. So where people might say, oh, Expedia came along, I love it because my reach is so much further. I now have clients all over the world. But via email, it's very easy for people to say, in my opinion, or I've seen this. If you can turn it around to say, in my experience, or based on my expert opinion, you are slowly and psychologically telling your consumer that they should trust you and that you do this more than they do it. And I think that even in real estate, you can say those same words and reinforce that among your potential clients.
That's super important because, when someone says to us, well, I really think my house is worth this and you guys should do X, Y, and Z. And one of my favorite responses is, I'm just curious, how many homes have you sold? And they say, oh, 1, 2. And I say, well, I do this for a living. I've sold hundreds of homes, and I just want you to know that you're in the right hands. Like, we know how to get your home sold, sir, or ma'am, or whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, you travel the world as a living. You know where people, when they want to go somewhere, the best experience that they should be having. I mean, I think no matter what industry you're in, though, like, the consumer is always going to be like, well, I think blah 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 blah. And so, we just have to be that expert and keep giving them value. Tristan, did you have something you wanted to add? Because I have
Jennifer, I've got 2 questions for you. One is, did you ever or do you still practice like a dialogue, scripts, or anything along those lines? Or did you just kind of just say things?
So if you're booking into a destination wedding, we already have those rates locked in. Mm-hmm. It's not a script because we still have to qualify the person that's going in. How many days do you want to go? How many people in a room? Have you ever traveled to this destination? Do you know what an all-inclusive is? Do you have a valid passport? But when they then ask questions about the resort, we do have the resort details for a reservationist to say, well, this has 6 swimming pools. Your room size is the square feet, and this is the price you're going to pay for the hotel cost. But no, we've never done scripts because I just think that people want to talk and you've got to ask them about their experiences. And when you do a script, you're doing all the talking and you're not really listening as much to them. I also tell my agents to smile when they're talking. People like to book with happy people too.
Yeah, they do.
And we sell a lot. We sell sunshine. We sell sand. We sell palm trees. That's a great thing to sell. It is. So that's something that we are lucky to do every day. So we should embrace that.
Well, that goes along with my other question. I'm glad you said that. So you sell sunshine, sand, happiness. Is it important that you kind of created a brand with the whole VIP thing? What made you choose that versus a name like Jennifer's
Vacations, right?
We're like you want to go on like an okvacation.com.
Okay, vacation.
So again, this is going to date me because I will tell you now that if I just started my business, I don't think I would have ever picked VIP Vacations. Ever. It was a really bad mistake because I did it when the #1 place to find a travel agency was the Yellow Pages. And you open it up and you either have all the A's or to the Z and you lose everything in between. And at the time, again, way back then, whatever that was, A's were AAA. That was like the big, or ABC Travel. And then there was a lot of T's, but at the bottom, there was nothing like past the T's, like travel time, travel this. So I thought VWZVV, VIP, that's how I treat my clients. That's how you're going to be treated. So now we move to the era of the internet, and there are quite a lot of VIPs. And there's VIP Vacations Inc. and VIP Travel and VIP Dash Travel. And VIP is actually a term like Band-Aid. Yeah, you need a Band-Aid or do you need a bandage? So you can book with other travel companies and they'll give you a VIP experience. And people have paid to get that Google AdWord up higher with the look of VIP travel or VIP vacations. And so what we've really had to focus on is brand recognition and keeping our SEO up to date, really crisp and clear on the back end of our website. Have it look like nothing else anybody has ever seen. And that takes us to a whole nother era that our company has won amazing awards for our website. For the look and feel from designers awards. So we focused a lot of attention on creating something that's completely different and focusing on our specialties and what we do so that hopefully people don't get confused when they see a VIPVacationsInc.com versus what our website is, which is vacationsbyvip.com. But I didn't want to have to rebrand. I didn't want to have to start a whole new company. We had had a lot of success with it. So we stuck with it and tried to make it work to the best that we can, which is really becoming experts in SEO and in, website design and the HTML portions of it. And I just love our website. It's reactive, so it goes with your phone. It can go with, a tablet or a PC. And that's kind of set us apart too, because we've become the techie, even though our website's not designed for you to book on.
Oh, I love it.
Do you think, I love your website, by the way. Do you think that a lot of the travel industry, in terms of, not like in terms of travel agents in general, are they kind of stuck in the past with their technology or their websites? Because I mean, Tristan, her looks really good.
Yeah, I'm on there right now.
And that's on your phone.
Yeah.
I think it looks even prettier on a, a regular desktop or a laptop.
No, it looks great on the desktop, but I'm saying like it's like I just want to click things.
Yeah, it's really
bright, you know what I mean? Like bright and colorful.
So what I think what's a problem with some, so you have two different trains of thought. You have like these mega giants, we call them OTAs, which is online travel agencies, the Expedias, the Orbits, the Travelocities, those. And so you have those that are focused on it all the time, just getting people in to try to book. And then they actually keep the cookie and they remember your, what you were looking for. And, I can't compete with something like that. There's only 9 other people here. So we decided to do it a little bit different. You really can't book anything on our website. You have to contact a specialist. And the other portion of that is when you go to look on our team, there are indicators on which specialist you should go to, not based on just your destination, but based on, what's your favorite drink? Where's your favorite destination? What is your theme song? The one that plays in your head, because we also do a lot of bookings with people who aren't in front of us. So we want that connection again. And that connection is usually based on something very authentic. So I encourage people to look at our website to get an idea, because if you're just starting out in real estate and you're not with a super, super big company, you don't want to be that big company. You want to focus on what you do really well. And that's what our website has done. And it's made us better. So as I could sit back and say, oh my God, did you see that this travel agency is using the search word terms, VIP vacations? Are they really sweating us? Are they really worried about us? And I could be super pissed off. But instead, we say, okay, let's try to figure out what they're doing in their SEO and try to get us to be better. And along that same line, my agents are business people. They know business. So though they can sell really well, they know the fundamentals of our business, and they know what KPIs we have and what we're looking for and what our goals are, so they can stay business people. I think, you can be an amazing realtor, but you also have to know the background to business and what is a successful business for you, because otherwise you're just doing something that's a service until you get that business train of thought going on. And that's looking at, benchmarking, looking at your goals, setting a vision. Keeping that data is great, but then turning that data into insight and what you need to do about it. And I think that's where realtors and travel agents have a lot in common, because there are some travel agents that just sell. They don't know anything beyond it. They couldn't even tell you how to advertise. They couldn't tell you what SEO even means. And if you really want to be amazing, you have to be amazing in all of those components. And then you have a business.
I'm going to say that we deal with this every day. So many real estate agents and realtors, they don't treat their businesses like a business. It's like fun. Well, of course we have fun doing it, but it's like a hobby, right? Like, they're not thinking with a business-like mindset. And for those of us that are, it can be really frustrating, So that's some incredible advice,
That is very good. I think you see that there's a lot of similarities in our businesses. It's kind of cool to talk to you and listen. I'm like, wow, that's very similar to real estate. It's cool to see. Yeah, we wear so many different hats. I mean, Nick, we're like the marketing person. We're like our own admin sometimes. In some cases, we're the contracts person. At least over here, we don't have attorneys, but we're really everything. We've gotten show property. We open doors. We do everything.
But, at the same time, we have goals every year, every month, every week, and so we can't reach those goals unless we have those systems in place to reach them. And if we don't have the systems in place, then we're not a business, and we're not thinking like a business. I just want to talk about, we touched about this earlier on. We had an interesting talk about it over the phone. The different types of generations of people that you work with, right? Like, so millennials, baby boomers, Gen X's. I want to talk about how, you mentioned that millennials are really hands-on. They really want to plan their vacations. And then, the Gen X's, you're like, you just do it for me. So what type of stuff are you seeing with the different generations, and how hands-on or how hands-off they want to be with the process?
So for some Gen Xers right now, especially if they're busy in their career, sometimes they just say, hey, Jen, plan me something perfect. I want to go this week. It's the four of us. This is my budget. This is where we want to fly from. We don't want to go here. We all have passports. And they want you to handle it because the amount of time that they have to take away from their busy day is they're just like, no. Now, I can tell you that when I send it to them, they are going to do their research because a Gen X is going to question everything you do. Well, why did you suggest this? Well, what does this have? And they might even look at a couple of TripAdvisor reviews. That's fine because we're confident in what we're selling. A millennial loves to do the planning. They love to do like the Pinterest research. They like to look at Instagram. They even will say, hey, a friend of mine went here. What do you think? And they'll look at that. But especially if it's a honeymoon, they don't want to be in the proverbial doghouse if something goes wrong. If it was the groom planning the honeymoon or the bride and something goes wrong because they booked it themselves, they don't want to be in that position. So they turn to somebody who can actually validate, verify, or tell them, no, don't do that. And they turn to an expert. So it's very different because they'll come to us and say, we want to go to Sandals in Barbados. I know there's nonstops on JetBlue. We really want a lot of activities. Can we find that there? And for us, it's easy. I know what the Sandals price is going to be. I know what you're seeing with Sandals. So I can give it to you and I can show you my own pictures and I can give you, advice on even the menu. You should, at this one restaurant, which is something they might not have been able to find on their own. So you add a little bit of your value to it and then they do it. But it's a very different thing. The others are the baby boomers who do not ever want to tell you what their budget is. They don't want to, and that's where I have like this little kind of back and forth with $50,000 or $25,000. But sometimes I can, if I get the impression that they're really holding back on the money talk, because money to them, you just don't talk about your salary, you don't talk about how much savings you have. They could live in a tiny little house and have $1 million in the bank. I ask them what they would most find value in. Is it the room? Is it the experience? And I'll put something together that's probably going to be based on the value of what they're looking for versus the dollar sign.
All right.
That's really great insight.
I'm taking notes here. So
Tristan started taking. I was taking notes too. So all of this, I think I want to really find out what you think the one thing you have done consistently over the last 20 years that has really helped you. Because in real estate, now Gary Keller, who owns Keller Williams Realty, wrote a book called The One Thing. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's not a real estate book. I mean, it's a business book. And he's saying you got to choose your one thing and just go with it. So many of us are multitasking, and multitasking just slows us down. So you got to pick your one thing. What is your one thing that you think that you've done over the last 20 years that has, made you this successful?
My husband and I often talk about this because he's told me I could, sell cars, I could sell MRI machines. My one thing is and I'm way not that scientific either. I have really learned to master the art of PR. PR in a way that other travel companies have not. Being the go-to expert for Martha Stewart's weddings, being one of what they call USA Top 10 advisors to write on USA Today, Fox News, Fox National News, CNN. I had a show on the Travel Channel for 3 years. I've been able to kind of loop off of that, even in our local area with the local news being the go-to person that they talk about. And how I started that was by simple press releases, having a news section, having an award section on our website, volunteering news information to the local media outlets. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is a company out there called HARO, HARO, stands for Help a Reporter Out. Sign up with your specialty. You will get questions from reporters every day, sometimes 3 times a day if they have those. And you have to devote the time. And then you make that connection. And what I've learned from doing TV is the reporter that sat next to you or asked you questions 5 years ago is most likely not going to be at that news station. They're going to go to New York. So when I was doing Fox News, which I'm still doing since 2006 down in Philly, one of the producers went to New York City and managed Fox National News. And when there's an issue with a hurricane, said, hey, I got a girl. You got to call her. She'll Skype with you. She doesn't have to come in. And that's the media that's out there and the scope of technology, that now you don't even have to drive to New York City, for me, in a storm to be their go-to expert. So you can start small. That's what I started with. I think in 2004, on Tuesday nights, I answered questions on a local cable access show where people would call in, and yes, I would have friends of mine call in because I just didn't want to sit there. Like, just please call in and ask a question about anything. But it gave me practice and it made me better. And I also was a very good writer throughout school and focused on writing. So I would write articles for newspapers and for columns, and now blogging is huge, huge. So you can do a blog and stick with a blog and pin it and bring it back to your website so that the SEO can grow from that too. But that one thing, Nick, sorry, it kind of went really long. That one thing, the PR piece that I was able to do to make the little company in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania become a national and a worldwide known company. And people want to book with people who are experts, people who are happy, people who are winners, but also people who have some recognition. You know, oh, she's that girl on Fox News. That's my agent. They want to do that too. They do. There's just something about name dropping or seeing somebody on TV, and and we then focus that too on Facebook, on Twitter. We will say, hey, I'm doing this tomorrow, or I'll be here. Hey, did you check out my news story? Or look at my YouTube station. So we also then recycle that and show others that. So the subliminal message is, hey, you should book with them.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, it is true that people want to work with people that are successful and people who are in there doing business. And I think, in real estate, that's why sometimes when you're trying to break into a new market, there's many times an agent who has dominated that market, and people just want to list with that agent because they've proven themselves in that market, and you've proven yourselves in not just a niche, but you grew from that niche to just travel, just trips all around the world as your clients, grow and their lives grow. I think it's amazing. I think I might watch this over a couple times.
Yeah, actually, that PR thing is pretty sweet, Jennifer. I'm looking at Haro right now. It's cool. I'd heard about it before, but I never looked into it.
So basically, what you sign up, and if you can sign up with your expertise, or
yeah, and you'll get an email every day. For travel, it's sometimes 3 times a day, and you choose if you are the expert for that. So like somebody might have just put in like backpacking the Grand Canyon. I'm not an expert about backpacking. Like camping to me is a hotel without room service. So I am not going to submit some sort of like, you can call me and we'll talk about camping. So you have to kind of pick and choose, and you have to know yourself too. If you don't know it, don't say I know it and email back. But what I found is that through Haro, the reporters might not even go on Haro anymore. They just know you, and they'll go right to you. And that's the important thing, is developing that. And it didn't start because like somebody said, hey, hi, are you a travel agent? Cool, I want to interview you. That's not how it happened. It happened from me going out and sending press releases. And there's a bunch. There's Free Press or Press Release 1888. There's all of these press releases sites. And I just started, we didn't win anything to begin with, but I started to get certifications. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to really highly market the fact that I'm certified in this, that I just got this done. And that's where we started with. And then as we started to win more and more things, we started to advertise that through the press release. So it's an ad, but you're not paying for it. And it's okay to kind of be boastful, and you can put it on your website, because maybe grandma's paying for the honeymoon. The bride and groom said, this is what we're doing, but grandma's paying for it. You know what grandma's going to do? She's going to look you up. She's going to see what you have, and then she's going to be really impressed by all of the accolades and the media attention and everything. And that's kind of how we've thought about doing that. And my team has won a lot of stuff on their own too. You know, I have a very young team, and not young in doing this, but young in age. And that's something that I think is not in my industry. You know, I don't know about the average age of a realtor, but most travel agents are like 50 plus.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
sad.
real estate.
Yeah, it's the same for real estate too.
It's sad. So in our team, I'm the oldest, and next to that is 32 and younger. So we really have this mindset of the millennial, and to keep this going. And so I've kind of passed the torch for PR to some of the other people in our office. My agent Ryan has been on the cover of Travel Agent Magazine 4 or 5 times. You know how many times I've been on it? 0. So
wow.
That says a lot about how we can all learn to like kind of PR ourselves in a very positive way to get attention, not just with consumers, but within our own industry, so we become that expert.
I love it.
I took a lot of notes, Jennifer. This is this is good.
Look at all this. All these notes.
I love your notes, Nick.
Tristan, anything you want to add to top it off?
No, Jennifer, that one thing of yours, the PR thing, that's so key, because it's just the way that value that you're bringing. I think people need to trust you first, and that with the whole PR thing, that's what you're doing. People are trusting you because of what they see, because of what they're reading. They're kind of letting everyone else say these great things about you, and that's creating the trust. I mean, do you use Yelp before we end this?
We do not use Yelp. I know that some other travel agencies do, and they also use Angie's List. We don't really market with that, or you know, kind of go in that area. We also like the Google reviews. When you go to Google, you can write a Google review. The Facebook reviews on some of the other sites. I love now the recommendation tab on Facebook, where people can say, hey, I'm looking for somebody, recommend. That's, you know, we'll always say, hey, keep us, you know, in mind for that.
That's a great tool. It's a great tool.
And we thank them again. We thank them for doing that.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Well, this has been great. I learned a lot. I'm going to watch it again, and we're going to post the replay up in a couple of days, and we'll send you a copy. And Tristan's going to call you in a little while to book his $50,000 to Italy.
30,000.
I'm sorry.
Tristan, I'm going to send you another email with some more qualifying questions, because I just want to.
She's not convinced you can really, she's not convinced yet, Tristan. All right. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much. It's been so much fun.
Thank you. Sophie says bye. She was such a good girl.
Hi, Sophie.
The whole time she's so good. Hi, Sophie.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.